So about 4 years ago, I had my first ayahuasca experience, and it really shook everything in my life, the foundational things that I had. It really was a catalyst for all the changes that have happened since that and where I am today. And after my first experience, I got familiar with the term of doing a dieta, which just means diet. But basically it is part of these indigenous traditions in South America that work with the plant medicine ayahuasca. They usually go on different diets. I don't know if this is part of other indigenous cultures as well that don't work with this specific plant, but that's all I know. And I knew at that point that I wanted to at some point do it. It sounded challenging, but it sounded so profound, and it sounded deeper, even deeper than the experience I had had. And since that first experience, I have gone through a long shamanic initiation path training, mostly in Quechan shamanism, which is in the Andean mountains, but also learning different shamanic traditions. And that in itself has also been a deep process of transforming so many things in my life. And last year was very, very tough for me. I had two of my grandparents passed away. We buried them. And after that, I was having challenges in my relationship. And me and my partner at the time got kicked out of our home for reasons that I didn't think were fair. That I think we're very much misunderstood. Basically me speaking up about what I'm doing, like I'm speaking up here, made me not a suitable person to live in that house. So that was a very it was a lot of very deep grief and letting go, and that then resulted later in the relationship also ending. So it seemed like it was thing after the next of going through just everything changing in my life. So in October, I traveled to Peru, and I didn't know how long I was going to stay there, but I knew that I was going to stay there for a longer time, to just live there or spend some time the winter there. And I had a feeling that I was going to be doing a dieta. I didn't really feel like I was going to intensively work with ayahuasca during that time, but I knew that there was some space to do a dieta, if that would, if everything would align with the dates and with the people that were doing it. And I had already known for a few years, that I wanted to work with Bobinsana. It is a very common plant to diet in the Shipibo tradition, at least. A very beautiful plant to diet, and that was just very clear to me. Even though my ego might have wanted to have something more uncommon or something more special that nobody's heard of. So everything aligned with Amakaya. Kais and Jonathan are driving this beautiful nonprofit organization, working really closely with the Shipibo, and they're my dear, dear friends, and everything aligned with them and their Maestro Richard. And he had a dream where he had seen, when she mentioned that I was coming, he had seen in the dream that Bobinsana was in fact the plant that I was going to work with, and that it actually grows around where I was going to do the diet, which was weird because it was at the home place of Jonathan and Kaisa, and Kaisa had been down to the river so many times but never seen Bobinsana there, and he said in the dream he saw that it grew everywhere. And then she went to check. In fact, it did. So we had a beautiful experience of actually being able to harvest the medicine that I was then working with. So after everything that had happened and going through a shamanic process, I felt like now is the time. I know what I'm getting myself into. I know how to work with spirits. I know how to work with, and I think I can isolate myself and fast and all these things. And I think this is the time to get a lot out of it, because there had been a lot of heartbreak. There had been a lot of heaviness with the heart, and Bobinsana specifically is a heart tonic. It's not a psychedelic in itself, but it's a tree that grows with beautiful pink flowers, and it works very much with the energy of the heart, the energy of love, of self-love, of these themes around that. And it also works on physical levels. So what happened when I arrived to Peru in October was that I got an eye infection, a viral eye infection, where a virus basically ate a part of the surface of my eye, and it made me extremely sensitive to light for, I would say, at least 4 months. I'm still not fully recovered. I still can't see with my left eye, but the light sensitivity is definitely much better. So I was in extreme pain for a few months. I couldn't see light much at all, or even have a computer screen. So that was very much a deep process for me to go in the darkness and internally into my own space. So that was one of the reasons as well why I felt like, okay, this is the right time, because Bobinsana also works with physical ailments, and many of the plants do. So you can pick also plants and put the intention of working with, if you have knee pain, or if you have some kind of inflammation, or you have some kind of issue, you can also work with that plant in the Dieta, in the diet, to specifically heal that. So I wanted to work on my eye, but also on the heart issues, on the issues related to relationships. Yes, so Bobinsana works on the physical levels. It works on energetic levels, obviously. And, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship that you build with this plant. So during my Dieta, I did not have any internet connection. That is part of the restricting the consumption, the diet, is to close yourself off from the outside world. But I did have my phone because I wanted to record some things. So I have some very raw material from me going through different emotions, going through different situations. I look rough, and as I'm not eating, I'm very, very tired and speak slow, and so bear with me. But I just wanted to share this, and I feel like the time is right now, because it's past some time, and I've kind of come out of that process. So I just wanted to share what that experience can be like for somebody, what it was for me at least. So maybe that will help you to decide on whether you want to do a diet. Maybe that will just give you a new viewpoint or of what's going on in the world, what the indigenous are doing, what the Westerners are doing together with the indigenous, and you know what it is to really dedicate yourself, make a commitment to a spirit of a plant, to a spirit, and to work together to create something beautiful, something harmonious. So you know, this is very, very vulnerable for me, but I still feel I want to share, so I hope you can get something out of this and enjoy. Good evening. This is my first day in isolation. I came deeply here to the jungle a few days ago. We have had 2 ceremonies, and now the only ceremony I'm having is with myself, in silence. We're not talking to any other people. I'm not eating anything, I'm not drinking anything, or the only thing I'm drinking is the plant Bobinsana. So I have about half a liter, of this liquid that I'm drinking. It's just a bark from a tree that I'm drinking and connecting with the spirit. And today I've been really, really tired. So it's probably all of this tiredness from doing so much that I'm just resetting and resting out, which is beautiful. You know, it's actually easier if you're not supposed to do anything or eat anything or talk to anyone, then being tired is quite good. So I went to the river, did a swim in the river. So that's the only kind of movement I've done today, only using of my energy. And as you can probably hear my voice, it's like, it's very slow. I don't have a lot of energy. But I'm not doing anything either, so it's actually perfect like that. I haven't been hungry today, so in that sense it's been easy. I don't know how it's going to evolve. I'm going to be 3 days without water and without food, or the only liquid I'm getting is the tea, so I'm still getting something. And of course I can go to the river to kind of suck up some of that water. And after those 3 days, I'll be doing 3 more days with water. So that will be such a joy to bring in some hydration. So 6 days of fastings, and total isolation is 3 days. And after that, I can slowly start. If there's something I need to talk about, I can do that. But mostly keeping to myself. It's a 20-day process, 21-day process, which means that even after I'm done here, I'll be committing to a specific diet, but I can start introducing foods and broths and potatoes and chicken and eggs and oats and stuff like that. So that's going to be exciting. But for now, I'm actually enjoying this process. So I've been laying a lot because I've been so tired, and now I got this spark of creative flow, writing down some ideas. Mainly on this Dieta, you're not allowed to have any input, but you can have output. So whatever creativity, singing, writing ideas you have, you can write down, but also to be mindful to not distract yourself too much. But whatever I'm writing about is really aligning with what I want to do, my purpose and everything. So I feel a call to do that. But yeah, this morning I was a bit grumpy. I was a bit tired. I was like, oh, you know, I had a lot of lucid dreaming last night, and it took a lot of energy out of me. Woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep. But now I'm in this joy of like full awe, like sitting here in paradise with beautiful butterflies, you know, mariposa blue butterflies, and all these little creepy crawlers and creatures from the jungle. I just had a monkey as company, and I'm creating all these ideas. So it's an absolute joy right now. I'm still tired, but I have no hurry, I have no stress. So I'm just sitting here and enjoying. The theme that came to me most strongly, as I'm really here to work on the heart and really understand how we can live of service, how we can live with our hearts open, because I believe that you know, and even me, have had like a lot of my intentions with what I'm doing is somehow self-centered and what I want to do. Like, obviously, yes, I'm helping other people, but really getting into that where it's not like I become smarter, or I become better, or I become more abundant, but really about how can we, in a community, in this Aquarian time, really help to create a new world, because I believe that the way we're doing it right now is not really working. There are a lot of people that are still suffering, a lot of people that are not being considered, a lot of people that are not being taken care of. And we have these big institutions that, yes, while they are supporting some part of this evolution, this growth, there is also a sense of selfishness in some group of people, in some group of people with money and stuff like that. And I'm not saying money is evil, but I'm saying I don't feel it's in harmony the way we are leading this world, these countries, these nations. So what came to me most strongly yesterday is arrogance, and how arrogance is really such a big blocker of the heart. And how I see that people that gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of intellectual knowledge, it's almost like people that compensate from feeling, people that want to avoid feeling, want to avoid connecting to their heart, go into this gaining of extreme gaining of intellectual knowledge, so they become really a master of some kind of discipline, and that can create a lot of arrogance if you are not being humble, if you are not staying connected to your heart. So I've noticed that this with some people in my life, where there is a certain level of arrogance and they're not willing to look at themselves. And I believe it has to do with them having closed off their heart a little bit. So that's really something. And I mean, I'm not here to go and judge other people and say they have to do that, but really my process is to see, where am I still being arrogant? Where am I still thinking that I know everything, that I don't need to listen to anyone else? Or because when you're arrogant, and arrogance is like, I would say, when confidence is really good, but like when confidence goes to the extreme, it comes out as this arrogance where you think you know everything. And then you're actually resisting your own growth, because there might be a message, there might be a person, there might be something that is trying to help you grow, trying to help you evolve. And because of this arrogance that you already know, and you're not willing to be to look at yourself and go into compassion, really, you're blocking your heart, the connection to the heart, to your own growth and your own evolution. And going back to how I think we should be leading, how I think we should be showing up in this world, I really don't see any other way than us really opening our hearts and really being heart-centered in the approaches, in the leadership that we have, in business, with friends. And that's really how we need to be doing it, which means that we also need to work on our traumas, because often trauma creates this closing of the heart as well, because we are being self-protective. We have been hurt. But again, staying in that hurt place is not going to help us. It's just going to create more suffering in the world. So these are some of my reflections from my ceremony last night, and what I've been sitting with today. And I am so deeply honored and grateful to be here, doing this process, really sitting with myself and gaining insights, resetting my body, my physical body. I lost my eyesight in October, and I'm already starting to see some more clarity in my sight. I've had some mucus in my lungs for a few weeks, starting to clear up. And I believe that inflammation and all these things is gonna go down from my body to really create a thriving body, and something that will carry me, so I have the opportunity to really be present and really be supportive to the people around me, because I think that's the greatest service I can give. And really work on my mission, my vision for what I want to create. And that's why it's so extremely beautiful to have this reset, this pause. And I highly recommend people to do that. I'm not saying it needs to be in this kind of context. I'm just saying any kind of reset that you can do, whether that's taking a time off social media for 3 days, going on a silence retreat, going somewhere just to disconnect from the world and sit with yourself. That is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give to yourself, and it really builds resilience. And that's another topic that came to me yesterday, is the greatest asset that you can have in life is resilience. It doesn't matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter how good you look, it doesn't matter. Nothing else really matters than your character. And I think resilience is the greatest feature that you can develop. And for that, I'm also deeply grateful that I have people around me that had shown me so much resilience throughout my life, family members who had shown me how to build resilience. Because again, like, you can have all the money in the world, but if you're struggling with your mental health, you might still, decide to end your life if you don't have resilience to keep going, if you don't have the support. Or with anything else, any hard situation, really having the mindset of being able to get through where there is resistance is the greatest gift. These were the thoughts for today, and I hope you have enjoyed. We'll continue this journey and see how my energy shifts, see how things shift, and wishing myself a beautiful journey on this, wishing you a beautiful journey on the other side. Thank you so much for listening.
Me yo rati